Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The show will start in about 1 minute. If you kindly take your seats, we'd appreciate it. Boy, what a responsive audience. Thank you. What did I do to deserve that? Okay. Now that you're all seated, I'm going to ask you to stand in honor of the Honor Guard from Palm Beach County, West Palm Beach, and Palm Beach Gardens under the leadership of Colonel Steen, Erik Steen. You're on. Ladies and gentlemen, can you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Right. Race. Play on command.
Prenatal battles off. 3-4. Right. Quick. One.
How about a nice round of applause for everybody? Now you may take your seats. Take your seats, enjoy your cup of coffee, whatever you'll have left from your breakfast, but we thank you very much for attending this morning. We have roughly 200 people, maybe 196. I see one table that might be somewhat empty, but in any event, we thank you very much for attending this morning. This is our 16th annual meeting. We started some 17 years ago as an informal group of people, and guess what? Here we are 16 years later, formalized as a 617 chapter in the state of Florida with over 22 communities. We started with 4 communities, very loosely affiliated, and then we realized when we started collecting money, public money, you must be official. So we became official as a 617 chapter in the state of Florida, and you will see that and what we stand for here. Let me find the about a third of you have never been to the annual meeting before when I was looking at the attendee list. So we're going to cover a couple of basics for you as to who we really are. Okay? We are a not-for-profit. We're a formalized Chapter 617 in the state of Florida. We are not a political arm. We do not fund, endorse, or sponsor any candidates. What we try to do is work with you as residents and give you the information behind issues that we uncover, which you'll see later in this presentation and others, and give you the facts. And at the end of the day, if it necessitates a vote, all we ask you to do is go vote. I don't care whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent. You earned the right to go vote in this country. I serve this country. I want you to go vote. And that's what we do. And our history has been phenomenal. We now have 22 communities. We started with just 2 or 3. And it's over 60,000 residents that we can have access to at some point in time or another. We have 36,000 active voters. Our voter participation rate was second to none in November. Okay? 90% participation rate. You're going to hear from the supervisor elections later today some detailed statistics. I'm rounding these numbers off for you, so I don't think you would remember 38,362. That's a number that you might not recognize. But if you recognize 38,000 or 36,000 or 40,000, but the real key is the residents got motivated and the formula works, because at the end of the day, and we ask you to go vote, we don't tell you who to vote for, we stay within our vision to provide for the greater good of the community, to provide for a better quality of life within the community, and then obviously making sure that we work together in a non-argumentative way. I use an expression when I meet with, and some of the county officials that are here, they know that if I meet with them, I may not agree with you, but I'm not a disagreeable person. If I'm willing to listen to you and you're willing to listen to me, guess what? We just might find a third better way. And oftentimes that happens. So listening is very important to all of us in that regard. But we do not in any way whatsoever dictate to any community what position they must take. If we give them the information, they should decide as a board whether they want to participate with us in pursuing that issue or not. It's up to them. We don't tell them that they have to, okay? And we're going to do it. Let me back up here. Can we back up a little bit? There we go. We're going to do it in a style that is very professional, very knowledgeable. Look, we have in our residence very successful people, doctors, lawyers, business people, I mean, teachers that have come from all walks of life, firemen, firewomen. I mean, they know what it means to be successful. They know what it means to meet with somebody else other than their own staff. And we're going to do that in a very professional way. And you and I have all witnessed firsthand at some of these commission and council meeting meetings, people showing up with all kinds of, and I don't mean to be critical of them, they're entitled to their opinion, but their appearance is somewhat alarming at times. They walk in with AK-47s, they walk in with toilet bowls on their heads, and they want to express themselves. That's not us. That is not us. We come prepared as business people to give you a perspective that hopefully allows you to understand the facts from our point of view and let us understand the facts from your point of view. And like I said, you might just find a third better way between the two parties, okay? We stayed focused on 7 strategic platforms from the very beginning. I love the opera, but we're not going to go talk to anybody who's trying to try out for a tenor position. We are in here for safety, security, the environment, economic development, education, the infrastructure, the character of the area, and financial and fiscal responsibility. We stay within those platforms. It allows us to get focused, allows us to better appreciate what the other party might have to say, okay? So someone asked me during the course of the last week, well, what did we do last year? I want to put that in context. Everything is not done by one phone call. or by one meeting. I think all of you know that because you're on boards in your own communities. It takes a journey to make something happen, to resolve issues. Some of these issues, one I'm going to point out, and it's planes, trains, highways, storms, candidate forums, affordability. When you take a look at what we are focused on, one of these projects, I'll take the airport project, the GA. Where's Dana? Oh, where's Barbara? Laura Beebe, where is she? There she is, okay. Laura helped us immensely. You know, they're going to try to expand the runway at the GAA airport. We're talking about the airport right up the Beeline, and not the Metro airport down in PBIA. And they're not expanding it for commercial jets. This will be expansion for private jets primarily, non-scheduled, you know, arrangement. I can't go to GAA and get Southwest Airlines to pick you up and then take you to wherever you're going to go. But the fact of the matter is that project started under Commissioner Valashay. Thank God we got Commissioner Marino over here from District 1, but she's helped as well, too. The fact of the matter is it takes time to resolve things. And one of the things we wanted was an audience with the FAA. Guess what? We got it. We had an audience with the FAA, and what we were requesting was that airport get towered. It's an untowered airport at this point in time. We were concerned with safety. What kind of planes were coming in, when they were coming in. There was an interlocal agreement. Ron Ferris knows this as the city manager of Palm Beach Gardens. He's out there, and there's an interlocal agreement between the Airport Authority and Palm Beach Gardens, and we looked at that and revamped it and revised it. Guess what? This past year, the environmental impact study was completed, and they approved a tower for that airport. It took over 4 years to make that done. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen overnight. I mean, so when someone asks me, what did you do for me this year? Well, start back when we started on some of these issues. Okay, let me give you another example. The North Lake Boulevard, and I see he was former mayor at the time, Greg Weiss sitting back there. We were concerned with the widening of North Lake Boulevard. And we didn't understand how they were going to widen it. And then we realized, wait a minute, homes were going to be taken, eminent domain was going to occur. It just didn't make sense to have, from a character of the area, to have an 8-lane highway in front of us down North Lake Boulevard. All the communities, whether it was Rustic Lakes, Avenir, Carlton Oaks, Osprey, IBIS. And we basically went out to all of the communities, tried to give them as much information as we could. And every president along every community along North Lake Boulevard, from Bay Hill all the way up to Montecito, we had a letter from the presidents objecting to that widening. We presented it to the county commission, and the county commissioner voted it down. So we gave in on 6 lanes, which I think is a smart thing to do, but we stopped 8 lanes because we didn't think that fit within the character of this geography. Okay, Milton, they surprised us, but here he came, and guess what he brought along with him? A tornado. Something that we all probably saw on TV when we were watching as that thing unfolded over Wellington and proceeded to the northeast. And unfortunately, Avenir got hit. Publix was about to be opened, and when that thing got devastated. If you saw the pictures of what happened to the homes and some of the facilities out at Avenir, they dumped the dumpsters on top of rooftops. I mean, that tornado was, I don't know how many miles per hour those winds were, but they were strong enough to lift a dipsy dumpster on top of a rooftop. Well, how did that come past to some degree? David Didden, sitting out here from Mirasol, he and I worked with, where's Mary Blakeney? Mary, she's the director of the EOC at the Palm Beach County. David Reyes, where's David? David's back there. He's the director of the EOC from Palm Beach Gardens. And where's Brent Bloomfield? Brent. Where are you, Brent? Oh, in the back, hiding there. You don't owe me anything. It's okay. You can sit closer. In any event, he was the director of the West Palm Beach EOC. We went and visited every one of those. And thanks to their support, and thanks to the support of the municipalities in the county, we were able to get published brochures that were passed out. I know that Ron Ferris made sure that Palm Beach Gardens mailed out those brochures to every resident within Palm Beach Gardens. And they're available to all of us. And it's not something we should take for granted, because a lot of people that have moved into these communities as of late have never experienced a hurricane. They have no idea. They're innocent by nature because they've been down only here 1 year. And we've been very fortunate, other than Milton, to escape some of the hurricanes in the past. But David and I learned a lot, established those relationships, and we got a good working relationship. At one of our monthly meetings, David came in and Brent came in, and we gave an update on what was happening on a local basis. And in the monthly meeting, you get about 50 people, so you get time for Q&A. Here it's more difficult, but you get time for Q&A. So don't ignore the agendas on the monthly meetings, because you'll learn something very candidly, very quickly. Okay, affordable housing, workforce housing. Another topic. We had Michelle Jacobs from the Economic Council. We had Virginia Baker as the Chief Administrator for the county come in and present the bond that was going before everybody to vote on. We voted for that bond, okay? But you needed education first to understand what they were trying to do, where they were trying to do it, when they wanted to try to do it. 2,000 units a year over the next 2 years, 20,000 units. I don't know the exact status right now, Maria Marino, Mayor, but I know that we were eligible for, we gave some, where's Roy Foster? There's Roy Foster, representing Faith, Hope, Love, and Charity as our CNN hero from Vietnam that was recognized by CNN for his service to all of our country. We were able to get some money from the county to help with transitional housing for our veterans. We don't want our veterans on the street. We want them in a house, in a bed. So there are many more we can cover. The point of the whole message is it doesn't take one phone call, doesn't take one meeting. It's a process. It takes time. There's governance that you have to abide by. The county can only do so much when they talk with us. They can't talk to each other behind their backs. They got to be open. It's got to be transparent, and it is. This commission is transparent. This commission shares with us everything that they have in their minds, and they give us what? Access. When I call Mayor Marino or Commissioner Weiss there, I mean, yes, when? When do you want to meet? We get to them right away. So, when we look at what do we want from you, what value do we bring, okay? How often can you pick up the phone and go to one of these leaders? You don't know them. They're not going to respond to you. You're going to go through the staff. You're going to work your way through. But you get access through this organization because we've established over 17 years relationships where we have built a brand. Our brand is trust. They know if I meet with one of them, or David and I, or my president over here, where's Matthew Cumula? Oh, here he is, back. Oh, okay. That we're not going to go running off to the press and say, let me tell you what the mayor just said. We don't do that. We respect their opinions. We respect the process that occurs. It doesn't take one phone call. Multiple meetings, multiple discussions. And like I said earlier, we may not agree initially on something, but once we learn about what another's trying to get done, you just might learn something. And maybe you're going to modify what your initial position might have been, and we come to an arrangement where, okay, we can satisfy that particular issue. So the theme of the whole organization is working together with business, government, and community leadership to plan for a better county. I'm not the smartest bulb in the pack, and I can't find anybody out there that is. But I got to tell you, when we work together, we can put all those mental and physical energies into good use and maybe come up with, like I say, the best way we can get things done. I thank you for being here today. It means a lot to all of us because I know, I'm an alumnus of IBIS sitting over there under Steve Loganiz's leadership, that, you know, it takes a team of people to make things happen. You really can't get it done by yourself. We have engineers, we have doctors, we have teachers, we have successful business people. Why not tap into that intellectual capacity? Why not use those energies to real good? And that's what we try to do. And if you come to a monthly meeting, I mean, I'll give credit to Marisol. I'm not trying to pick on David here, but he had a seminar at Marisol most recently, thanks to, where's Chief Pape from Palm Beach Gardens? Police Chief Pape. Oh, there he is, okay. Under his leadership, a seminar was put on about what's happening in today's world from a technology point of view. Anybody get scammed recently by a bad email? Anybody get scammed recently by a fraudulent phone call? Well, that's what we talked about. Our residents in our communities are just as suspect and vulnerable as anyone else. And unfortunately, some people who were proud enough to stand up, they got scammed. Not for little dollars, for big dollars. Identity theft. How are you going to resolve that? So we get involved with all of that. We're going to hold on the June 24th monthly meeting right here at the IBIS Property Owners Association building. The chief has agreed to bring that same team of people in and present that same seminar that David was so forthright in thinking about and present it to all of you. So you're welcome, June 24th, down at the POA building. Occupancy, 50, 65 people, okay? So if you plan on coming early. We start at 4 o'clock and we're done by 5:30, okay? All right, so I thank you for coming this morning. There's a lot of ground to cover. You're gonna see some very interesting speakers. I'm looking for one that I can't see Is she, oh, yes, okay, we're all here. Okay. All righty. So with that in mind, the first speaker that I'm going to bring up, I met a couple of months back. Several of us met with him. We've been talking with him since then. He's the brand new CEO of Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center. You got Erik Cazares. He hails from El Paso, Texas. He started his career as a nurse, so he understands the hospital business very well. And he's our leader now from Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center, our first presenter. Come on up, Erik.
Sounds good. All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Erik Cazares. I'm the CEO for Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center. I want to thank the NCNC for having me here, Sal, David. It's a pleasure to be here this morning with my team to have this opportunity to talk to you about the services at Gardens and all the great things that are happening there. As Sal mentioned, I am a nurse by background, so patient care, high quality, I'm very passionate about those things. And that's what you're gonna see reflected here in today's presentation. So a little bit about our facility. As you can see here, Gardens has been a staple of this community since 1968. That was over 50 years ago when the hospital was first opened. Since then, it's been one of the first ones to bring many critical services to the community. Cardiac surgery, we were the first ones to do it. We've done over 20,000 open heart surgeries since then. Structural heart, we've also led the way in structural heart, and basically every comprehensive heart procedure that you can think of is offered right now at Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center. So we are by far the leader when it comes to cardiac care. Also, our emergency department, one of the fastest, most efficient emergency departments that you can potentially measure by the metrics. When you look at rankings across the United States, we're looking at different metrics such as emergency room turnaround times. One of the ones that I'm particularly proud of is our door to provider time, and I know many of you in other presentations may have heard me talk about it. It's the time from when a patient walks into our emergency room to the time that they're seen by a physician, a nurse practitioner, or a physician assistant. We average 10 minutes, so that's incredibly fast. And why that's important is because we can treat those emergencies as quickly as possible. So very proud of that metric as well. Some other accolades, and we have a whole list and slides that I didn't bring today because we don't have enough time, but I'm just gonna highlight, when it comes to cardiac and pulmonary care, we're top 10% in the nation as well. So this is here in your community. It's offered just a few minutes from where you guys live. So having said that, we want to make sure that we continue to keep up with all the needs of this community, of the Palm Beach County, of Palm Beach Gardens, and so forth. And this year, between 2025 and going into 2026, we're going to be investing approximately $15 million more in upgrades, not only to facility infrastructure, but also to equipment in our cath labs, in our ORs. Our renovation to the emergency room just got completed, and we're about to start our main lobby renovations as well. And then further down throughout the year, we're gonna start renovations of our nursing departments in the second and third floors as well. So really excited about these projects. It's one way that we're gonna keep up with the growth and what the community deserves and needs for us to be doing. So I've talked quite a bit about cardiology and how we're the leaders in cardiology, but that's not all we do. We have a very strong urology program, outpatient therapy, cardiac therapy, pulmonary. We're a leader in strokes. We're certified in stroke care as well. But one of the things that we're particularly proud of, because we've had tremendous growth and we're leading the way as well, is our orthopedics department. When it comes to orthopedics, we are a certified Joint Commission facility for total hip and total joint replacement. And what that means is when you get that certification, it means that we are abiding by all the latest and greatest recommended practices that are evidence-based. What that means is that it yields greater patient outcomes, lower infection rates, lower mortality rates, and lower complication rates, which is what we want to be doing as well. So having said that, it's a good segue to introduce our next speaker. He's going to talk to you a little bit more about our orthopedics program and the joint program that we have over at Gardens. And he is a fellowship trained in total hip and total knee. He's also board certified orthopedic surgeon. He is a high volume physician, very committed and a great partner to the organization. He also sits in the Palm Beach governing board body as well. So with that, I'm happy to introduce Dr. Robert Avino to come up here and join us.
Thank you very much, Eric, and thank you very much to the NCNC for hosting us today, and thank you for my wonderful team at Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center, who's been very supportive over the last 3 years. Like Eric said, my name is Bob Avino, and I'm a fellowship-trained orthopedic hip and knee replacement specialist, and I focus on robotic surgery. And I'm very proud to share with you the total joint replacement program at Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center. I really believe that Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center is at the forefront of joint replacement. We're going to be talking about the surgical capabilities, the advanced robotic technology, a little bit about the comprehensive care program at Gardens, the same-day discharge program, and share some of the accolades that Eric mentioned. Really, the surgical capabilities for joint replacement at the medical center are second to none. We have 4 orthopedic robots. 2 of those robots are the Mako robotic system. We have one of the Mako robots with us today. If you have time after the presentation, please come by and I'll give you a personal demo on the system. We also have the ability to do the direct anterior hip replacement, which is a less invasive way of performing hip replacement. This is an example of something called the HANA table, and we have 3 of these at the medical center. We also perform partial knee replacement, complex hip and knee replacement, complex revision surgery for our patients for joint replacement. We are able to provide joint replacement for patients that come into the medical center with hip fractures, and we're able to provide less invasive anesthesia using regional anesthesia, which has less complications. And we're also able to offer these surgeries to patients that are older, in their 90s, even patients that are over 100 years old, we've done surgeries on. So somebody actually came up to me and asked, is Palm Beach Gardens or is the robotic system in all hospitals, is this the way that we're doing all joint replacement? No, it's not. Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center was the first and is the only hospital in Palm Beach County to have 2 Mako robotic systems. What is the Mako robot? Well, it's a robotic arm that the surgeon controls to perform joint replacement. It allows us to do hip replacement, knee replacement, and partial knee replacement. Before surgery, surgeons are able to plan the surgery in advance before we even walk into the operating room. And this is based on a CAT scan. And the CAT scan creates a 3-dimensional image for us to actually plan where we're putting the components, what sizes we're going to use, and then we're able to even take the hip through a digital range of motion before we do the surgery, so we know, whether or not the hip can potentially dislocate based on our component positioning. If that's the case, we adjust our component positioning. Not only does it help us before surgery, but it helps us in the operating room while we're doing the surgery. We're bound by this haptic technology, meaning that we cannot stray off course. With manual instrumentation, you can damage the soft tissues, you can put a component in the wrong spot. With the Mako robotic technology, it's kind of like a coloring book. We set the lines of the coloring book, and you can only color within the lines. And we're also getting more information in the surgery. We know how tight the soft tissues are, how loose the soft tissues are, where to place the components based on that data in the surgery. What does this mean? That means that we're more precise. It's a more naturally feeling joint. There's less soft tissue damage, less bone is resected, less bone loss, and ultimately less pain for our patients. So this is a video demonstration of the Mako robotic arm. So this is the arm that I actually control in the surgery. After we make the incision, we control that arm. Before surgery, the patients will get a CAT scan. And the CAT scan creates a 3-dimensional image for us to plan the surgery off of. This is actually a demonstration of us planning a case, and we're able to look at the patient's anatomy. We're able to look at, what their leg length discrepancy might be. Everybody's hip socket is different, so we want to size the hip correctly to know what prosthesis we're going to be using. And we do this a week in advance of surgery. So if we may be doing, just in my practice, we might be doing 10 joint replacements. The hospital may be doing 30 joint replacements in a week. We do all this before surgery. In surgery, we use a robotic stylus to marry up that CAT scan with the patient's own anatomy. So we actually touch different areas of the bone, and that overlays that CAT scan. So once that happens, we verify everything with little different checks where we place the robotic stylus, and then we can bring in the robotic arm into the patient's wound and to start removing the bone that is necessary to implant the prosthesis. This is a process called reaming or bone removal. So we're removing all the diseased bone-on-bone cartilage. And again, it's locked in place. We cannot deviate off path. Even if I tried to move off path, the robot would not let me. So it's a lot different than when you're doing this surgery manually and you can go off path. You can remove things that you shouldn't remove. You can place the components in the wrong spot and that can lead to dislocations. The robotic arm is actually guiding us in this procedure and not letting us stray off course. And that leads to better component positioning. Then we insert a liner, which is made of plastic, a ceramic head ball, and then the rest of the hip replacement here is demonstrated. So why should patients seek out robotic surgery for joint replacement? Well, this is a very well-studied system. For the Mako robotics, there's over 500 studies within the orthopedic literature validating its use and showing its effectiveness, and there's been over 1.5 million procedures performed with the Mako robot, and it's been on the market starting with partial knee replacements for at least 19 years. So what can patients expect with robotic surgery, or what is the literature shown? Well, less rates of complications, more enhanced positioning of the components, meaning that we're actually hitting our target when we're putting these components, reduced dislocation rates. That's a devastating complication for hip surgery, the hip popping out of socket, and that can mean revision after the surgery. And there's less rates with robotic surgery of those types of complications. We're able to use less pain medication after these surgeries. There's less time in the hospital, and there are lower revision rates with robotic surgery. All really important things when considering joint replacement. So at Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center, we marry that with the comprehensive preoperative care program. Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center is now a one-stop shop for joint replacement surgery. Our patients come to the medical center 30 days in advance to receive their preoperative testing, their blood work, their chest x-ray, their EKG, and the Mako robotic CAT scan. They also meet one-on-one with a member of our anesthesia staff to get their questions answered, to go through their past medical history, and to identify any risk factors that they may have undergoing anesthesia. They also get to meet with our nurse orthopedic navigator. This is a specialized position where the nurse will go through with the patient and their family members. Well, what can you expect with joint replacement? How do I prepare the home for joint replacement? And how do we do this surgery safely? And so that's a joint replacement class that is done one-on-one at the medical center with the patient when they come in for all these other things that they're getting taken care of before their surgery. What about in the OR? Well, we truly have a specialized team dedicated to joint replacement surgery at Palm Beach Gardens. We have experienced nurses that are not only experienced with orthopedic care, but specifically joint replacement. If we're doing multiple surgeries, anywhere from 4 to 6 joint replacements just in our OR alone, well, these nurses come with us throughout the entire day. They're not moving to do general surgery or urology or cardiac. They're sticking with the orthopedic doctor to do the joint replacement. That means that as the day goes on, we get better and better. We get more practice. As the week goes on, we get better and better. And as the years go on, we get better and better. We also have the advanced systems that allow us to do revision surgery. So God forbid there is a complication, we're able to address that at the medical center. We don't have to transfer these patients to an academic center. We have dedicated and specialized physical therapists that are trained in orthopedics, and we have a closed orthopedic unit as well. So really, our staff is super, super specialized, not just in orthopedics, but in joint replacement. So when we put it all together with the robotic program, and the medical center, we're less invasive, we have better outcomes, we're able to perform and offer surgery for more complex deformities, older patients. We're able to provide patients with less pain after the surgery. We have quicker return to activities, and we have consistent quality using the robotic technology. And this means that we're happier surgeons because we're hitting our target, we're achieving our goals, we're being able to help our patients more, and we have happier staff because we're able to be very successful with these surgeries. And we're now able to offer patients the ability to go home the same day of their operation. So no longer are patients staying multiple days in the hospital or going to rehab. Patients are actually going home the same day of this surgery. And it's really because we're able to have the patients come to the hospital beforehand. We're able to identify any risk factors, potentially optimize them for the surgery or modify those risk factors. We have the same staff that is meeting the patient before the surgery. They're seeing them on the day of the surgery, they're seeing them in the post-operative unit, and they're continuing that continuity of care. We're able to provide them with regional anesthesia. That's the less invasive method of doing the anesthesia. So the patients are actually without a breathing tube during this surgery. And we're able to have them have the physical therapy that they would get in the hospital. Our physical therapists come right to bedside, get them up right away, get them moving, and show them how to safely get in and out of their car, go up and down stairs, and how to return home safely. So our patients are now coming into the hospital, having their joint replaced, and going home 2 to 4 hours after that surgery. And this is not just for patients that are in their 40s or 50s. We're even doing this for patients that are in their 80s. Just this week, we had a gentleman that was 86 that went home the same day and was very happy that he was able to recover in his own house after the surgery. So these are some of the achievements. These are some of the accolades that we've gotten from Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, health grades. This is a picture of us celebrating our 500th Mako robotic surgery. This was just last year, and in a few months, we'll be celebrating the 1,000th surgery. So thank you again for having me today. Thank you again to my team at Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center. Thank you, Sal. Really appreciate the ability to present about our amazing program. Thank you. Yes, I'll take it.
Thank you, Dr. Avino. Very informative, very interesting, and very helpful to understand. I wanted to acknowledge a couple of other individuals. Colonel Holman, where is the Colonel? Here, why don't you be recognized? I want to recognize Rick Bradshaw, was also a sponsor of our table this morning, meeting this morning, but he couldn't be here, called to duty. So Colonel Holman, why don't you have you guys stand up, all the Palm Beach County police, sheriff that are in duty, that are here this morning. You know, we lost some deputies, obviously, the wrong way. So out of respect for their individual families and so forth, we pray that they're obviously in full recovery. We also have Tony Arahu, the West Palm Beach police chief. Where's Tony? Tony, stand up. You got any of your guys here this morning? Anybody from West Palm Beach Police here? No? Okay. All right, and we recognize they're doing duty calls, which is most important. And I recognized earlier Police Chief Dominic Pape. Dominic, in the back over here. Unheralded heroes. They do a great job day in and day out without asking for any appreciation. But we do appreciate what you do, and you're in our prayers, obviously, for safety and security. During the course of the year, we lost an individual that regrettably passed on. He was one of the early participants in the NCNC, served as president at PGA National. Michael Englisher passed away in February of this year. So just a moment of silence in recognizing Michael's contribution. Thank you very much. We also have a change in leadership in the NCNC. Camille Palmera, everybody know Camille? She was our executive consultant. If you didn't know her, she knew you, all right? But she is elected to retire, and we wish her well. Unfortunately, she's not here this morning. She had a death in her family unexpectedly and is just returning from New York. Her younger brother passed away. So we give Camille our emotions and our prayers and our thoughts, okay? However, around the corner from where I lived, I found a jewel. sitting there, and I'm looking for Camille's replacement. So let me introduce to you Julia Musina. Julia is by profession a professional event planner, hails from Moscow, okay, has done a phenomenal job. She did, I'd say, 90% of the work for this meeting. She organized the seating, who's coming, the RSVPs, the charts, the presentations, and it takes a lot of logistics. If you never put a meeting together like this, you realize how difficult it is because the little things become big things, okay? You also have a lot of stuff on your table. You got golf balls. The fire department says these will go straight and they float. So that's why I got them for you, okay? The Palm Beach Gardens folks gave us little first aid kits. They're very handy. You put them in your golf bag, put them in your cart, you know, when you need them. It's nice. The fire department here, has given the county, has got eyeglass wipes. And if you've never seen these cool cloths, you wear them when it's very hot outside, you wet them up, and they kind of make you feel a little cooler for the day and maybe help you make the day through. And you also have some bio sheets. You got this good-looking guy in the top part of the sheet there that's just kind of, I'm only kidding. Oh, I thought somebody's barked. But anyhow, so we thank you once again, and we thank our sponsors, obviously. Don Kozlowski from FP&L. He has been a great supporter. Stand up, Don. We really appreciate it. And we've had many of our communities, Marisol and IBIS, and we went through the list, and PGA National and Avenir that have helped sponsor, and we really appreciate that support. It comes in very needed. Obviously, without that, we might not be able to have this meeting. But the fact of the matter is that throughout the year, it's not just this meeting, that they do provide support and leadership. And your leadership is genuinely appreciated. You attend every monthly meeting, and we definitely realize the fact that you go back to your communities and update them on what's going on, okay? All right, now I gave some rounded numbers on the voting participation rate. Our goal is to encourage our residents to vote. Oh, let me not forget my other partner over here, Noel Martinez, from the CEO of the Palm Beach North Chamber of Commerce. Noel and I dialogue, have lunch every now and then, throw spears at one another, but we have a good time. I served on his strategic planning committee representing the NCNC, and I appreciate that opportunity to do that, so thank you very much. Okay, our next speaker is going to give you a perspective on the voting that occurred during the last year, and most recently this past March, I guess, as well, I believe. And I had a dialogue with her, and I asked her, why do we have a November election, and then why do we have such short time later a March election? She's going to address that issue. And there's a couple of changes in policy and practices and how you vote by mail and what you got to do to register to vote by mail so that you can be part of the next election. So no further ado, our Supervisor of Election from Palm Beach County, okay, none other than Wendy Link.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me. I did promise, as you know, Sal runs a tight ship, so I'll get going here. Wanted to, I can't really see, all right, so active registered voters. We have about 926,000 active registered voters now in our county. You can see, Sal wanted your actual numbers for NCNC. You do have over 38,000 active registered voters here. Democrats make up about 29% of those here in NCNC, but at the county level, it's about 36%. For Republicans, we've got 15,946 Republicans, making up about 41% of NCNC and about 33% of the county, and 11,450 registered NPA and minor parties for NCNC, making up about 30%, which is pretty similar to Palm Beach County, which is 31%. So this area tends to be a little bit more Republican, which isn't really a surprise with the demographics here. Turnout history that you can see. So Palm Beach County, as was mentioned, we're pretty proud. We had over an 84% turnout, one of the highest we've ever had in the history of elections in the county. NCNC does tend to have a very high turnout rate for general elections. So you can see that those higher here. Voters tend to be transitioning back to in-person voting, we're finding, much more so than vote by mail, and that has to do with some of the changes in vote by mail. We are finding more voters are voting early, though, so they are doing in-person, but tending to vote through early voting much more so than election day voting. And I think that's it's actually a good thing. For people who, you have a choice, you can vote by mail if that's your preference, but if you want to vote in person, you have your choice of early voting and election day. Early voting gives you a lot more days to do it, and so that you're not going to be, something happens at that last minute on election day and you can't make it, you've at least had that opportunity. Also with early voting in Palm Beach County, and we are the only county in the country that allows for this, and that is you have the opportunity to make an appointment to vote early. And so we had over 100,000 people make appointments to vote in our county for the general election. We would have had more even, but that we have to limit it so that we can keep lines moving properly. And so we had about 98% of the people who made an appointment actually kept it. So, we think there was even more than that. That was just what the record's showing. One of the things that I will point out is NCNC doesn't show up quite as much for the municipal elections. And so, you have to think about why that might be. As we all know, the municipal elections are extraordinarily important to your daily life. So we have really great turnout from the NCNC neighborhoods when it comes to general elections, but we could probably get a few more people out there for the municipal elections. And then that comes to the timing of the municipal elections. So right now, we have people talking about a November turnout versus March. What would be better? There is a bill that is in the legislature right now that would require every county in the state to move to November elections. But I don't think it's moving. So I don't know that it's actually going to do, but nothing, you never know what exactly till the legislature's done. But that bill is there, so I thought I'd just point out a couple of things. If you have them in November, of course, you're going to have a higher turnout, just because our turnout rates are so much higher. You do end up with a much longer ballot. So with the way the ballot rules are, these municipalities would be the last things on your ballot. So that's probably, if we've got a two-sided ballot with 2 pages, it would really be, sort of your 4th page. And one of the things we find is you've got your candidates first for your federal, state, and county races. Then you've got your initiative questions and amendments. And then after that would be municipal. And we find that a lot of people, if they don't know the amendment questions, they don't really care about them, they just won't vote that part of it. So the question is, will they then turn over that page and vote for the municipal elections, or will you have a big turnout with ballot fatigue? We've also talked to a lot of cities who say they don't really want it to go to November. On one hand, it would save them money, because if you're doing, when we're already doing a November election, we don't have to charge the cities for anything that we're already doing. So save you a lot of money if you do it in November. But with that higher turnout, a lot of the cities have told us the people who come in March are the people who pay attention and who care about that municipal elections, and they know the issues and they know the candidates. If we have a lot of people show up, maybe they won't, and they'll just be marking anything. That's possible, it's a voter education issue. So those are the things that we hear when we talk to the cities. So right now, the reason the elections are held in March is because the city charters require that. So we have 39 municipalities, and currently all 39 municipalities require that their elections be held in March. So if the state does change that, we'll have to go through a lot of changes with that. All right. Wanted to also couple this Florida legislative session. As we said, there's a lot going on. All of these bills are things we're following. In red, you'll notice there it talks about the petitions, and that's because that's one that we're pretty certain is going to get through both houses and will probably be signed by the governor. You might know with the abortion and the marijuana use, that was something the governor and the state were against and spent a lot of time and money on that. There is also a bill that would say that the state cannot spend taxpayer dollars on that any longer, so we're not sure how that's going to go either. But with these new petition bills, it will have a significant effect, because it is going to make it where the voter to sign the petition would have to include driver's license and or social security number, the last 4, when they sign that petition. Also, when they come to us, we would have to send you a letter telling you that we've received your petition and that it was counted, so that if you realize you didn't sign a petition, you have the opportunity to pull that back. So there's going to be a big added expense to the elections office to send all those letters. Also, there's a lot of requirements as to who the petition gatherers can hire. Has to be U.S. citizens, has to be residents of Florida, which is typically they bring a lot of people in from out of state to do that. So that's going to have a big change on the way petitions are done. The other bill that is likely to go through is on the House side, Bill 1381, which is a big extensive elections bill. As of late last night, we were told the Senate wasn't going to hear a companion bill. About 3 minutes before I popped up here, I got a text that said the Senate may now just take it straight to the House, or go to the Rules Committee and then straight to the House. So that is possible that that'll happen. If that happens, you're going to see a lot of changes. Some of them I think would be very good. Others are going to be challenging for our county. One of the things in there would be that especially with you all coming from the north, if you do vote by mail, right now you can drop it off at any of the 4 offices in the secure ballot intake stations. It used to be called a drop box. With this new bill, you wouldn't be able to do that. You could only drop it off at our main office. So you wouldn't even be able to take it inside to our North County office. So we wouldn't just lose the box, we would also lose the ability to collect your vote by mail at any office other than the main office. So again, smaller counties, not such a big deal because it's not that big difference. Here, the size of our county makes that very difficult. So it's something that we've been pushing back on and are trying to make sure that they're aware of sort of the disproportionate effect that things like that would have. All right. The recent presidential order, you all know about that. It's been it's already being challenged. Biggest issue, proof of citizenship for voter registration. It's going to have a lot of rules that will go along with that, including each of you having to update and come and improve your citizenship before you're able to vote again. So that's going to be a challenge for us to implement if that continues on, but we'll do it. Mail-in ballot deadlines are not going to change for us because it's something we already do, and it would give statewide or federal oversight of our voting rolls. Finishing up real quick, the vote by mail, again, you do have to request your vote by mail ballot after every general election. So wanted to let you know that you've got a lot of changes with that. So right now we only have about 530 vote by mail requests for NCNC. So we had about a little over 14,000 requests for the general election, I think 14,298 to be exact, and we currently have 531 from the NCNC neighborhoods. So if vote by mail is something you like to do, please make sure that you're going online, calling our office, filling out the form, whatever you need to do that. And with that, just know we're always looking for poll workers. We've got lots of great programs you can do as a group. We offer tours at our office and would love to invite any of you to do that. It's a behind-the-scenes tour that shows you what all the security protections we have, how we know you didn't vote twice, how the vote by mail works, and all of that. So please consider giving us a call. We'd love to host you and your group to do that. And thank you so much.
And speaking about elections, she's always been very supportive, very informative, and we thank her for her dedication to obviously giving us the information she just did. So thank you, Wendy. We appreciate it very much. I want to acknowledge, too, a recent election at Palm Beach Gardens. A new mayor here. We have Marcy Tinsley. Why don't you stand up in the back, new mayor of Palm Beach Gardens? She's not here, but I wanted to thank Chelsea Reed for her leadership over the years. She obviously had some other commitment previously, but she was previous mayor of Palm Beach Gardens, so we welcome that. And I'm looking for somebody. Can't find him here yet. Okay. Our theme of this meeting is really safety, public safety. And as you can tell by the presence of the fire and the police people that are here today, we really do appreciate what they do for us day in and day out without having the acknowledgement from anybody. They just do their jobs on a day-to-day basis. Now, unfortunately, like I said earlier in the meeting, we had lost some deputies in some stupid kind of ways, so I don't know how they resolved one particular incident happened, but unfortunately, we lost a couple of deputies in that one incident. So these guys definitely, and these women put their lives on the line day in and day out. You don't call them, I don't call them, they do what they do because they believe it to do it, okay? Also want to make just one minor administrative announcement. This meeting is being videotaped. I did the wrong thing. I looked at the lights. Now I'm blind. I can't see anybody, okay? But we will distribute this video to all of the communities if you desire to have it, so you can do it on your website. We'll put it up on our website. So hopefully you're not necessarily worrying about missing a piece of information. Okay, so the first speaker up, where is he? Oh, there he is. Okay, I missed. Pat Kennedy is the head of the Palm Beach County Fire and Rescue Department. So with that, come on up, Pat. This here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Good morning. I can't believe Sal gave me 45 minutes to deliver. He didn't hear me, did he? I'm going to try to do something that's impossible. Look at the screen and see the paper at the same time. So, on behalf of the men and women that serve Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. I always say we do it for free. We're glad you don't make us. So this morning I'm going to get right to it, and I just want to thank NCNC and Sal and just Julia for all the work that you put in, and also our leadership. You know, the Board of County Commissioners and our mayor constantly, thoughtfully think through what it takes for the county to be served. And I realize that we don't serve many of your communities here today, but what we do serve is the entire county, from all the way at the county line in Martin County, all the way down to Boca, from the coast all the way out to the Glades. So when you're traveling, this is the safety that we're providing, and I want to say thank you for this opportunity. We'll get right to it. Okay. Where we are today. So it's funny how this started. In 1984, Chief Bryce put together 10 fire districts, put them together, said we want to have a larger system. What does that larger system mean to Palm Beach County? What that meant was a consolidation of services at the time. And it was a very complex mission, taking 10 different policies, 10 different fire trucks, 10 different cultures, and putting it together. And it was a very simple vision that he had, which was a good fire department, place where people wanted to come to work, and also, on top of that, community support. And with that, I know we're thriving today, and that still lives, but as the fire chief, the sixth fire chief, what I can tell you is that rides heavy on my shoulders, knowing that we have to honor the past, and we have to blaze a path for the future, and still be industry leaders out there for everybody. And our people compete, as you saw with our Honor Guard and Pipes and Drums working together with West Palm and the town today and Gardens. At the end of the day, we're always working together to make our county safer. So I want to say thank you for that opportunity, because Chief Bryce left us in a great place. Our depth of service, that really is our strength. When you think of the depth of service that the county can bring, it's something that we saw on the national news reports, that we were able to still send units to Port St. Lucie because they got hit harder than we did during the hurricanes. What that means is when you look at all those units and you look at the 51 fire stations and you look at the amount of chiefs that we have on the road, that's the support that our folks need when they go to fires. Fires start, yes, we can have captains and rescues and everybody start to initiate the fire attack, but at the end of the day, it's really the bosses that come to the scene that can really bring that calm to the chaos. And at the end of the day, you can see that depth of service goes all the way down throughout the county, and we're strategically placed to try to reduce response times and also reduce call volumes for some of the stations. We have some stations that are running over 7,000 calls. That's what some cities don't run. So we have some very busy areas, and we're trying to meet the needs of our community on a daily basis. Evolution of EMS services. This is something that really touches my heart, because in many ways, when I started as a paramedic, and yes, I rode the truck for 10 years as a paramedic and then became a captain and a battalion chief, and I rose up through the ranks. But the one thing I noticed is We responded to calls, but we're not seeing the save rates back then that we see today. The save rates that we're seeing either through cardiac arrest, just through the science and technology and the advancement of what we're doing on scenes, and then also some of the advancements in terms of whole blood delivery to the scene. We're actually bringing the emergency room to the scene to help people in their greatest time of need. And there has been a mention this morning about a tragic accident that occurred, and one of the things that that does is give our responders hope that we were able to do our best on scene, that we were able to give our best that day. And yes, we did give it to our brothers in green, and it was not the outcome that we would have hoped for. But what we do know is we were bringing the best equipment and the best trained people to the scene with that blood to have the best outcome. Another thing that's changed and evolved is pediatric cardiac arrest. One thing that we used to do was just kind of a swoop and scoop. We'd pick up the child and we'd get in the truck and we'd give as many treatments as we possibly could while we were in the truck, and we would get to the hospital and they would take over. What we're noticing now is our folks are staying on scene, and it's doing a couple of different things. It's bringing closure to the families. It's actually bringing the ER to the scene. And it's also just giving the responders the time to deliver all of those modalities that they can deliver at the scene. And sometimes we're on scene for as much as 30 minutes, and those outcomes are remarkable. We've had reunion after reunion to see how these kids are surviving from drownings or near drownings, and what is happening out there. And today is truly an evolution of the service that we're providing in the EMS realm. An all-hazards service, you'll hear that from time to time. What does that mean? We're not firefighters just playing checkers anymore. We're doing a lot more than that. And it's not just the medical side of things. You're going to see the search and rescue in the open water. You're going to see where we've trained with PBSO, where we're trying to do pickoffs in the middle of the Everglades, in the ocean, and we're trying to get people out of boats or hazardous conditions. We're also working with our swift water boats, which were deployed over to the West Coast. And we're also working with our urban search and rescue team, which you saw a picture of at some point, or you will, in Wellington and also in Palm Beach Gardens, where they were doing grid searches. And this is just something that we're able to provide here. We did start this well before Surfside event. However, it was one of those things that got a little bit of a momentum, unfortunately, because of that tragic event. Our USAR, as I mentioned, something that we started in 2002, and it's just really one of those services that can continue to evolve. We have two teams, Task Force 1 and Task Force 2 down in Miami. They provide the highest level of federal service that there is, and then there's a gap. There's truly a gap between us and Orlando, and we are advocating for a statewide recognized team here in Palm Beach County. But what we did realize through EM and Mary Blakeney is we could put that in our plans right now. We could deliver that without the state blessing, to deliver that to our constituents in the time of need. And fortunately, if anything like that happened, what does that mean? The 6-hour flex time or whatever that occurs to get a team here, we can already be moving on that. So we're now working on a Type 3 team, which I say is dogs, doctors, and engineers, and that's really to bring a higher level of skill along with our team of firefighters that's delivering the service and trying to make sure that they're seeing what the assessed damage is and what they can do to rescue victims. ISO. So a lot of people think of ISO as just a mark on the insurance bill or a reduction. And in fact, that is, but the reality is there's much more to that, especially for a larger department that runs a vast amount of areas from, like I mentioned before, all the way to the Glades where our response times are challenged. But what that does is it really puts the department, the organizations in check to say, hey, these are the standards that you're going to follow to build a better fire department, whether it be through training, whether it be through water supply delivery, whether it be through communications or just simply community risk reduction. What are we doing? And that's that table in the back that they've been so diligently manning, making sure that you know of all the services that are out there for Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, that we can deliver the very best and prevent emergencies from happening. Pre-hospital blood products. I really didn't think about this as much as I drive through the Midwest often, and as you see, there's some big gaps. There's some big gaps where they're not delivering whole blood, and this has got national attention. It's continuing to get national attention. Palm Beach County Fire Rescue was the one to bring it to Palm Beach County first. We know other departments are delivering it now. We also know the hospitals are delivering it now. And there was a great amount of pushback when we did this. but we knew it was going to save lives, and indeed it is. We also are delivering plasma, and I apologize because my EMS chief knows I'm going to butcher this. I'm just not the paramedic that I once was. But the reality is there's plasma delivered for different reasons, right? So head injuries and whatnot. And then the whole blood is what we're delivering on 6 of those units that are out there. So you can see they're strategically placed to our EMS captains. If one's busy, another one can pick it up. If one ran out of blood, the other one can deliver it to the other. We also have it on the Trauma Hawks as well. So why is that so important? Whole blood. This hit home. So this little girl's name is Izzy. Her father happens to be a district chief for us. He's worked for us for the last 20-some years. And she had a tonsillectomy. So she had a medical procedure. It's not just a trauma, a modality for trauma, but she had a procedure. She vomited up her clot. She passed out. Parents were in sheer panic. You could hear it in the dad's voice as he called 911. The QR code's there for you to see it. There was a couple national news pieces that they did on this. It is really a truly remarkable story, and to see her vigor and to see how she is a light of hope for all of us, it's worth watching. So Izzy was given whole blood, and by the time she got to the hospital, she was asking for ice cream. And we know as paramedics that that's not something we did before. We would give what my other med services chief would call pasta water. We'd give salt water and we would hope for the best, and we'd drive very fast. This is something that they were able to do on scene, give to this young lady, and this is her smile and her hope that she provides to us today. So there's a QR code if anybody would like to see it. We also could have it and share it in the back. A roadmap for the future. We're not doing this alone, and like I said, it's truly about the support that we receive, and with that we have a map, which is our 5-year strategic plan. And we're diligently moving through that as a very young department, realizing that we have 50% of our department has less than 10 years on. We need a map, because the institutional knowledge just isn't there as it once was. So this map provides that waypoint for us to continue to follow, and we are following it today. And one of the things I'm most proud of is just knowing that I was told once that big is big, and that is right. Big agencies are just big. But when you have an organization of excellence and you have feedback that we knew that we put out there, and we knew it was going to be difficult because we were going to hear some things about ourselves that we probably didn't want to hear, we put it out there to get the reviews from our customers. And we're using the Baldridge Group. They do a certain sampling. They come back and they say, this is what you guys are doing. So that's our number. It's 99.2 overall satisfaction rating. 2 QR codes that are here. Inside Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, which is a video that shows you the complexity of what we do. And last is the annual report. It's a voluminous amount of pages, but what I can tell you is it's worth the read, and it captures everything that I did not go over here today. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you to all of you from the Palm Beach County Fire Organization. We appreciate it. But we know it takes a team as well, because unfortunately fires don't look particular municipal boundaries, and they cross boundaries, so I know these guys work together oftentimes on the same incident. I wanted to acknowledge, let me see, Alicia Cox. Where's Cox? The new state attorney. There she is. Congratulations on your election. Okay, and Ann Gannon was in here earlier. Okay, but Ann Gannon, the tax collector, somebody you want to know. Okay, offering discounts today only. Okay, but we thank Ann for attending here this morning too. And let me see, I had one other one I was looking for. All right, I'll do my closing remarks. Okay, with no further ado, Palm Beach Gardens is being represented this morning by Chief James Ippolito. So, James.
And good morning, everyone. Again, my name is James Ippolito, and I do serve as the Deputy Fire Chief for the City of Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue. And we're going to start right off with accreditation. So Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue is duly accredited. We are accredited on the fire side and the EMS side, and we hold the distinction of an ISO 1 fire department. ISO 1 directly affects what you pay for fire insurance premiums. Put all this into perspective, there are 319 fire departments accredited on the fire side internationally, 186 EMS. There are 37,000 fire departments that the U.S. Fire Administration actually knows about in the entire United States, 37,000. We are one of 14 fire departments to hold all three distinctions. So for a small fire department, that is impressive, something we are very proud of. We're currently 135 shift personnel strong. We are rapidly growing with the expansion out west. We currently have 5 fire stations. We are getting ready to open up our 6th fire station in Avenir. Last year, we ran 14,000 calls. I don't have the clicker here. Oh, sorry, guys. There we go. Last year, we ran 14,000 calls for service with Station 6 opening up. That'll help to alleviate a lot of that pressure on the other fire stations. We're scheduled to open up this June. It's right over here on Coconut Boulevard. It was spared, and I mean spared, by that last tornado that went right through the driveway. So we were very fortunate that that is going to open on time as well. We're fortunate on the north end here, City of Palm Beach Gardens, to have a fire training tower. That allows us to do a lot of stress inoculation training with our crews, and more importantly, with our automatic mutual aid partners, the Palm Beach County Fire Rescue and West Palm Beach Fire Rescue. We do regular training on the north end, so the crew's not having to drive around all over the county to do that training. But in addition to the training, it also gives us an opportunity to be very scientific on the way we look at new methods and methodologies to put out fires and for the strategy to fire tactics. It allows us to run experiments on new techniques. It allows us to do it under a controlled live fire environment so we can see what works, what doesn't work, and ultimately provide our residents and our visitors the best possible service. Talking about that tornado, it's probably a good time to talk about how we do things here in the City of Palm Beach Gardens. We have a unique model for emergency management. When the storms are impending, every fire station becomes a little department in its own. We stage fire crews, we stage police officers, and we stage our public works equipment, personnel and heavy equipment at each of the fire stations. And they deploy as a task force. This way, as the call for service comes out per storm, if there's a tree in the road, we're not having to wait. The bulldozer can knock that tree out of the way, and the emergency crews can get to where they need to be. With the recent tornado, just to kind of tell you how that all works and how efficient it is, our EOC started about 5:10 p.m. is when the EOC was activated. By 9:15 that afternoon, every home was searched, was evaluated, and roads were cleared, and we were back to system status. So that's roughly about 4 hours, which is, again, something we're very proud of. We hold the distinction of being the Mission Lifeline Award for 10 years in a row. And that is given from the American Heart Association for the treatment of heart attack victims. So what does that mean to our residents? Most importantly, our cardiac survival rates, some numbers that we're also very proud of. Our resuscitation rate in 2024 was 42.9%. You can see on the screen there, both the state and the national rates hover around 28%. So a considerable increase based on that. And ultimately, our job is to save lives, and we're going to find every which way and avenue to improve that. As Chief Kennedy mentioned, we're the second agency in Palm Beach County to also offer that. We would be in this area, our units would be the closest units to provide that whole blood. And this really started as a trauma piece where we're trying to get traumatic patients to the hospital as soon as possible, something they used to call the golden hour, which is way too long to get patients to the hospital, so we'd scoop them up, get them to the hospital. But where we've extended this now is to the medical side, because there are a lot of medical cases where this whole blood could also be beneficial and ultimately improve patient outcomes. One notable story was at a local surgery center where the patient after surgery was in recovery and the patient's vital signs started crashing, and they realized that the surgeon had accidentally nicked an artery. So they called 911 in hopes that we would get them to the hospital very quickly so they could give blood and to fix the problem. To the surgeon's surprise, we were able to show up and start doing a transfusion right on scene. And when the surgeon found that out, he was not only shocked, he said, well, this is great. I can open this patient back up right now and fix this issue. So he was able to do that, bring him right back into surgery, fix the problem, and we were able to fix the patient before they even got to the hospital altogether. Community risk education. Of course, prevention is always better than reaction afterward. We, last year, trained over 1,500 people in CPR with our partnership with Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center. We hold classes free at Palm Beach Gardens Fire Station 1 every month. We also have a very interactive public safety trailer that is great for the kids. It has a fake theatrical smoke. The kids can learn how to stop, drop, and roll. They can learn how to stay low and go. The doors get warm, so they learn how to feel a door and not go out. Even fire extinguisher training that has simulated fires in kitchens and laser fire extinguishers for the adults to learn how to use. We're also proud to be the first designated heart-safe community in the state of Florida. So with all that CPR training that we did, that's a great part of this. We will train anyone and everyone who will listen to us and learn CPR, because the one thing we know from our data, that if you're going to leave the hospital neurologically intact, meaning all your faculties are still there after a cardiac arrest, there had to have been some sort of bystander CPR. Brain death starts after 4 minutes. Best response times are around 5 minutes. So you can see where the time starts to decrease. So it is vitally important that everyone just start CPR. It is very simple. It's hands only, no more mouth to mouth. If you'll contact us, there will be a QR code at the end of the presentation. We will train anyone again and everyone. But in addition to the heart-safe community, part of this is AED access. If you go to any of our city parks, if you go to any of the public buildings now, there are AEDs everywhere. And you'll see them in yellow boxes. So there are yellow boxes. They're ballistic. They tell me they're bulletproof, and hopefully nobody's going to try to shoot them. But more importantly, they have a code on there to prevent theft. And when you call 911, each one of those codes and your cell phone is geolocated through dispatch, and they're identify where you are. They can tell you that there's an AED nearby. They will give you the code to have access to that. So hopefully all this will be all be processed before we get there to ultimately improve that 42% that we're trying very hard to get even higher. Some of our awards and recognitions, I won't go through all of them, but notably here, there's a lot of awards here that are on the national front, not only for our treatment, but also for the health and wellness of our providers. Mental health is obviously a big thing that's in the news now for both the military and our first responders. Our fire chief and our city commission and our city manager take that very seriously. We've been recognized on a national level for a lot of the programs that we have in place right now. Our annual report is available online. You can use the QR code to scan that. And of course, all these things that I've talked about, all these outcomes, first and foremost, would never happen without the men and women of the fire department here at the City of Palm Beach Gardens, and certainly would not happen without the support of our city council, our city manager, and of course, all of you. So thank you all very much from the bottom of our heart.
Thank you, Jimmy. Appreciate it very much. He's no stranger to us. We've talked with him many times. Wanted to acknowledge a few more executives or elected officials that are here. Where's Dorothy Jacks? I think Dorothy. There she is in the back. Another important person. County appraiser. Ann Gannon, I think, walked back in the room. There's Ann. Okay, your tax collector as well. Newly elected to the Palm Beach Gardens City Council, John Kemp. Come on, John, stand up here. There you go. He's really a smart guy. He brought his wife, Jennifer, sitting right there in the back over there. That's really good. Terrific. And Matthew Lane from the school board here at District 1. Okay, our next speaker representing West Palm Beach. Where is, there he is, Mr. Walker, Brian Walker, Deputy Chief.
Thank you very much. My name is Brian Walker. I'm a Division Chief of Special Operations for the West Palm Beach Fire Department. I'd like to thank the NCNC for having me here today to tell you a little bit about our department. One of the things we're very proud of at West Palm Beach is our tradition. Our fire department was founded in 1894, so I thought I'd take you on a little history trip from past, present, and future. So as West Palm Beach started out as a tent city, but as Henry Flagler started moving his empire down south with his railroads and his resorts, he needed some infrastructure to help that out. So the town of West Palm Beach was born. 1,000 residents, had similar things that most towns would have: post office, schools, of course the railroad. But Henry Flagler's dreams literally went up in smoke after his resort started catching fire. Largely built out of wood, no fire codes, and poor firefighting equipment. Basically, the construction workers were doing everything they could to try to put it out. Henry quickly realized that he was going to need a more robust fire department. So the Flagler Alerts were born. In November of 1894, 40 volunteers joined together to become the Flagler Alerts. They were alerted by a bell that was on Datura and Poinsettia, which is now Dixie Highway. And their first piece of apparatus was a hand-drawn hose cart. So they would load that hose up onto the cart and they would pull it to the scene, and that way they could unload it and hook it to the fire hydrant. First fire station, first fire hall in 1905. Henry Flagler sold that to the town of West Palm Beach for $420. Not bad digs for your first fire station, right? And the fire station of today, this is Fire Station 8, which is located out on North Lake Boulevard. That houses an engine and a rescue. 3 personnel on each unit, fully staffed. Both units advanced life support, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. First motorized fire apparatus was purchased for $5,500 in 1911. And then our newest in the fleet, Truck 1, which is a tiller apparatus at $1.4 million when we purchased it a couple years ago. It's now $2 million, in case you're in the market. Tiller, so if you're fans of Seinfeld, you may remember Kramer hanging out of the back of the truck as it's going down the streets of New York, right? This is that same type of apparatus. What's unique about this is you do have 2 drivers. There is a driver that's up front in the cab, and then one sits in the back in what we call the phone booth and steers the back of the truck. Amazingly, with this truck being longer than 50 feet, it's actually extremely maneuverable because of that, which makes it perfect for downtown. 1922, we had 6 total fire apparatus. Today, we have 26 frontline units ready to respond 24 hours a day. These include what you would normally think of: engines, aerials, rescue trucks, but we also have some specialty apparatus. We have a hazardous materials tractor trailer, a technical rescue truck, and an MCU truck, a mass casualty unit. When needed, when there's an emergency incident where there's a large number of patients, we can dispatch this mass casualty unit as it has the equipment and supplies to help deal with that situation. Went from volunteers to now over 300 dedicated and professional individuals, over 130 years of service serving the community. This is our command staff, led by Fire Chief Diana Matty, and they oversee 308 personnel throughout 9 stations. Over the 58 square miles of West Palm Beach, it's separated into 2 battalions, east and west. We also have our own emergency operations center and support facilities as well, such as logistics and a fire fleet. We responded to just over 30,000 calls for service in 2024, and those ranged from everything from EMS to fires, strokes, heart attacks, car fires, house fires, multiple other incidents. See the one up top there, ducks in a drain, public assist. Ducks in a drain is a new cat in a tree. We go to those quite a bit. But we respond to so much more than just the EMS and the fire calls. We are one of 4 regional hazardous materials response teams. So outside of Palm Beach County, we go from North Lake to Boynton Beach Boulevard and east of 95 for hazardous materials response. We have a technical rescue team, which handles things like rope rescue, confined space, and trench. We have a dive rescue team. What's unique about our dive rescue team is that most teams have a centralized location. There's a crew and a unit that is going to respond from a station to that dive call. At West Palm, we have dive equipment on every apparatus, and our divers are dispersed throughout the city. So when a call comes in that needs divers, we're able to get there quickly with the appropriate equipment. We also respond to natural disasters, not only here in Palm Beach County, but as was mentioned earlier, we'll send units throughout the state for assistance. We also have SWAT paramedics and a canine search dog. Her name's Fire. It was talked about earlier, right? We say that over 30,000 calls for service, and that's something that as we have emerging threats and population continues to grow, that call volume is going to increase. But we just don't respond to calls reactively. We try to be proactive as well with community risk reduction services. Our fire prevention division, our life safety educators are always out there trying to educate the community. Our emergency operations personnel are teaching hurricane preparedness. But one of the flagship programs that we have in that community risk reduction is our community paramedic program. This group of individuals goes out in the community. They identify high-volume callers that don't necessarily need that trip to the emergency room. But that's maybe the only access they have to try to get the care that they need. We're talking about people that maybe need elderly services, substance abuse issues, or homelessness. The community paramedics reach out to those individuals, get them connected with the programs that they need to get better. And then secondarily is then those units are available in service, in zone, to respond to emergency calls. What's happening in the future? Station 9 is a short-term goal, making that a permanent station and fully staffing it with an engine and 3 more personnel, as well as building a training facility in the property that's adjacent to Station 9. We look downtown, we see 22 cranes in the air, and the population continues to grow. We're always looking to put additional units and personnel to try to meet that demand. We're always looking for technology to try to assist us in doing a better job. One of those things is a drone program. Most recently, about a month ago, we had a large commercial structure fire, 2-story commercial structure fire in 4-Zone downtown. We got the fire mostly under control, but there was a large amount of fire still left in the roof. We had our aerial apparatus up with firefighters at the top of those ladders, but the smoke was too large. We couldn't see where the seat of the fire was. We were able to fly the drone, and using thermal imaging, we were able to locate where the seats of those fires were, effectively apply the water streams to it, and we put that fires out hours sooner than we would have otherwise. Some other technology that we use is things like this, like a heat map. This is a heat map of the medical calls between 2022 and 24 in Station 8 zone where we're at. By looking at that heat map, you can see two hot spots. One would be the shops at IBIS, and one would be our location we're in now, obviously because of the foot traffic at those 2 locations. But we'll use technology such as this to try to determine where we're going to build another fire station or where we may put another unit in service. It was mentioned here before, right? Regardless of the patch on the side of our coats here today, we're all working together. The Palm Beach County Fire Chiefs Association does an excellent job. They have an EMS training and special ops division. We're always working together, trying to be on the same page and reading off the same sheet of music. Again, as it was mentioned earlier, the perfect example of that was the response to the tornadoes in October last year. Units from all 3 municipalities were out there. We were doing everything we could to mitigate that situation. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Giving you a little past, present, and future, where we were, where we are, and where we're going. And as always, thank you for your support.
Isn't it nice to know we got some people like that kind of surrounding us when we're sleeping at night or working in the day or having lunch or having dinner? Thank you, guys. Why don't you stand up and all be recognized? The fire people from Palm Beach County, West Palm Beach, and Palm Beach Gardens. Thank you for all that you do, and you probably don't get enough thank yous in advance, but we're giving you a whole bunch right here today. Okay, we're almost at the end of our program, and notoriously speaking, I'm always known for starting on time and ending on time. By the way, I should just let you know, I'm not trying to take credit for any of this stuff because I got a wonderful team of people that I work with. But that fire station, I was the intermediary between Palm Beach Gardens, West Palm Beach, and the county on Fire Station 8. There wasn't a fire station over there for quite some time. until I got into the middle of it, and we decided to kind of lay down our swords. Everybody played nice together and figure out what's the right thing to do over here in the western part of West Palm Beach. And we've got a nice station over there, and we're looking forward to Avino opening up in their station as well, so we can all work together nicely. Okay, as I said earlier, we've got lots of things that are still going on, and any good leadership would involve not so much what we did in the past, but are we prepared for the future? There are a number of issues that are there. One of them was just briefly mentioned about technology. What are you going to do with AI in the future as a community? Any applications in mind? Where are you going to use it, and how are you going to use it, and ethically can you use it? I mean, there's going to be a lot of discussion on where does technology flow into residential communities, okay? And privacy and security and safety of data and information and what you're all about and sort of what's happening. But when you look at that, we've got a growth situation. Excuse me. The Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council, under Dr. Lanini's leadership at one point in time, shared with us that 300,000 people are expected to move into Palm Beach County by 2030. That's 30,000 people a year. We know we got over-traveled roads, and traffic is an issue, and we got to work together to figure that out. We know that, excuse me, had a bottle of water up here. Can I have a glass of water right there? Got a slight cold I'm recovering from. Thank you.
I'll add that to my response list.
You did that in less than 1 minute. So, the issue is, how are we going to accommodate that growth? Housing supply, affordability of what the housing supply is. Jim Krause, where's Jimmy, sitting from PGA National? He and I went down to West Palm Beach and participated in a property insurance discussion. Homeowners insurance, where's it going? Who knows? Property tax, where's it going? With 300,000 new people coming into the county, something's got to burst someplace. Excuse me. I don't know that I can carry on much longer, but I would share with you, these are the kind of things we look at the future and try to get ready for. Good leadership is prepared. It doesn't react. It is proactive. I'm nicely surrounded by a group of people. Our president, where is Matthew Camilla, president of the NCNC? Matthew, stand up and be recognized. David Dinnan, vice president from the NCNC, stand up. Jim Krause, secretary. And Dr. Roman, our treasurer. And where is Bob Yeager? There's Bob Yeager, our director. Victor Martin, our director. Where's Victor? Thank you. Shouldn't ignore as well some elected officials from West Palm Beach. There's Joe Peduzzi sitting over here in the commissioner from District 4. And where's Christina Lambert? Is Christina still here? Christina, commissioner? Okay, from West Palm Beach. And Shalonda Warren. Did Shalonda kind of make it through the weeds over here? No, I guess not. Well, look, we thank every one of you for giving us the most precious gift you can give us, and I really say this sincerely. It's an hour and a half of your lifetime. You can't take it away. You gave it to me. It's mine to keep. It's mine to figure out what to do with. And we know that you like what we're doing because you do attend our meetings, and you give us invaluable input. I don't look for ideas that are mine. I look for ideas that are yours and see if we can kind of merge them together and figure out what the best way is to go forward. And if we stay with our theme, we're going to work together with county, government, business, community leadership to plan for a better county. It's the only formula that I know that works. And if you educate everybody along the way, people will better understand. We don't like to be told anything. You don't mind being shared information, but being told what to do is annoying to a lot of people. Because you know what? You're all bright people. You're intelligent people. We don't take you for granted. We need your input. So what is it that we need fundamentally from you? Is just a simple little commitment. We'll do a lot of the work. All we need from you is your leadership in your respective county. Oh, forgive me, Paul Owen from the Thousand Friends of Florida, one of the great environmental groups in the state of Florida, and a sponsor here this morning. Paul and I have talked on the phone multiple times. I've presented at some of his meetings, and he's presented previously at one of our meetings. But our environment, and with 300,000 new people coming into Palm Beach County, it's not going to stay the same. Something's got to give. Someplace, Mother Nature's going to react somehow and, fight back to preserve itself. And we need to make sure we do that. I'm a native Floridian. I don't know where Florida's going, to tell you the truth. I keep asking some of our elected officials, we got 1.5 million people in the county now. What do we need? 2 million, 2.5 million, 3 million? When do we kind of say, okay, we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the roadways, and we don't have the facilities that we might need? Well, look, don't be a stranger to us. We have monthly meetings. They're advertised on our website. Please come. Most of them we try to rotate around, but most of them are held right down here at the IBIS POA office building. We've held several over at Mirasol, but we look forward to rotating throughout. So thank you for coming. And, excuse me, and I say stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you very much.